Oh, this is gonna be crazy. That was great. Alright, hello everyone and welcome to... I'm sorry, my mic is messing up. Hello everyone and welcome to SpraynPray1000's Verdict, starring me, SpraynPray1000, as I review some of the new games that have recently come out that I have done playthroughs for on my channel. So, basically, in today's episode, we're going to talk about a sequel to what was actually a surprisingly, I wouldn't say amazing, but definitely well-received game for what actually its producer originally makes. Okay, that actually was inspired and came into a marketplace filled with modern day shooters, which is kind of how the FPS genre has turned out in this day and age. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about the sequel to Sniper Ghost Warrior 1, Sniper Ghost Warrior 2. And basically, what's good about this game, what's interesting about this game, and stuff about that. And I'm sorry if I'm not, in my usual format. I'm not feeling it right now, and I just finished the game, and I actually haven't rendered any of the footage. So when you see this video, there will be footage over it. But as of right now, I'm recording with no footage on my computer of this game. I mean, I did do the playthrough, but I haven't rendered the final videos, is what I'm saying. So, what exactly is Sniper Ghost Warrior 2? Well, like its predecessor, as the title of the games, sort of hints at, this game is a niche game, okay? This game is unique. Unlike, most other games which kind of cater, within their genre, this game caters to a very specific type of gameplay within the FPS genre, namely sniping. So, if you're not a fan of sniping, if you're not a fan of, sitting around with a sniper, lining up shots, you're probably not going to find much interest in this game. Similar to how if you're not a Naruto fan, you're not going to find much interest in a game like Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. That just won't happen. But if you do like sniping, then this game is right up your alley because, hell, there's plenty of it. Now, it's a good thing that I played the original Sniper Ghost Warrior 1 as a part of my closer analysis on the franchise, because now I actually can juxtapose it with, how the prequel, puts up with the sequel. So, basically, let's look at the sequel. The sequel takes place... Well, actually, the sequel is basically unrelated to the first game. But you play as Cole Anderson, an American sniper, basically through 3 different time periods, ultimately leading up to, the conclusion of the game. Initially, you play as, Cole Anderson a week prior to the actual events of the game. The modern events of the game. And, you play as him. You basically are assigned to stop an arms deal that's going down in the Philippines. And what ends up happening is, there's plot twists that happen. And throughout the course of the game, you go to 3 different places, 3 different time periods in Cole's life to see, what exactly happened and what led up to this moment and, what's been going on and what's the story behind this. And, for the most part, the story is interesting. But, it's kind of... And I hate to get to, the thing I didn't like about the game, right away. But the story is very simplistic. It's nothing you haven't seen before, especially in the FPS genre. This has been done a million times. Not even in the FPS genre, just, in military games alone. The plot is very similar, actually, to like a James Bond movie, where the villains, they want, nuclear weapons and, weapons of mass destruction. And it's up to you to stop them. And, I hate to bring out the James Bond card, because once you do that, that kind of changes everything, the way that you talk about something. But, unfortunately, in this case, that's really all I could think of for this game. That, you play as a guy, not necessarily, Bond, where he runs in, he fucking slaughters everyone in his way. But, you play as a guy, and, there's this whole plot, and you're the only one that could really stop them. You're the only guy for the job, and, pretty much, the other thing about the story, besides it being very simple, not much really to grasp besides, what they give you. There's nothing beneath the surface worth digging. No major astounding plot twists. Although there is one little plot twist besides that, one or two, nothing much. Besides that, the game is also incredibly short. I'm pretty sure that the game itself actually only chalks out to maybe a 3 to 4 hour campaign, which, isn't a lot for an FPS game. Which, it could go either way. Like I said, Modern Warfare 3, I actually enjoyed the fact that the campaign was shorter because they finally perfected, what they had spent 5 games doing. There was no real repetitive gunplay. There was nice concentrated story after story after story, and then that was it. And then you had your conclusion. So it was a nice story progression. This game, on the other hand, since the story is simplistic and it's so short, it's not. I didn't, really find myself getting too deep into it. And ultimately, I basically said, this story is kind of lackluster. Like, it just feels taped on just, as a way to bridge one sniping sequence to the next. And if a story gets taped on, especially in the FPS genre where it's really hard to redeem a taped on story, then that's a problem. And I can't give, I can't give too much for that. I can't be that lenient. And I just finished looking at all my different videos from all the different recording parts. The game, because I'm not calculating this right now. The game is at least like 3.5 to 4 hours long, so it's not going to take up the better part of a day or anything like that. Now character-wise, this game is just pretty much your standard Marine fare that you've seen. Again, the market is completely oversaturated with these kinds of games right now because that's what's popular ever since the COD 4 explosion. Pretty much where COD 4 and Bad Company 2 brought back this whole modern military simulator that every game seems to have right now. Now at least the one thing I can give them points for this game, story wise, is that at least the story holds up way better, a million times better than the story of Sniper Ghost Warrior 1. Now the story of Sniper Ghost Warrior 1, not without getting into too much detail, was pretty much a joke, a modern day joke of an FPS campaign. Even by modern day standards, the campaign was literally, you go here, there's some people you need to snipe, there's a regime you need to topple in Latin America, and then that's really it. There's not much to the story. In fact, the main villain, I believe, gets taken down by the main character while you're not playing as him, while you're off doing something else, while you're spotting for him. And I know spotting is an important part of sniping, but gameplay-wise, that's just looking through a pair of binoculars and, staring at something. That's not, something that people exactly would enjoy playing particularly a lot. On top of that, the game, once you've, finished killing all the people you need to kill in the last level, the game literally ends with a the end screen after a very glitchy final level. So at least I can give them some points for improving the story over the prequel, because the prequel was just overall a really weird, very awkward game. And I understand that the game is developed by Polish developers, and maybe over there that's how they do it, because actually it's a local developer that Sniper Ghost Warrior actually caught on. It was very popular, very unique, that it did stuff that hadn't really been done in video games before, and that kind of caught on, and that kind of made it be marketed all around the world. But I believe that Polish developer City Interactive, which I actually never heard of, for obvious reasons, up until I played Sniper Ghost Warrior 1, they pretty much, their game wasn't really that well known, and they pretty much only release local games, which, that's their own affair, and I don't even want to play what their local games are. But, moving on to Sniper Ghost Warrior 2, the game also, just getting onto the graphics engine and all that kind of stuff, the game is powered by the CryEngine 3, which I notice is a lot better in terms of gameplay than the previous engine, whatever they used in Sniper Ghost Warrior 1. In Sniper Ghost Warrior 1, it was hard as hell to maneuver around the area. It was just very difficult. You would be crouch walking, in the bushes like you're supposed to, and, hiding from enemies while sniping and picking them off, and you would have problems walking over little hills in the ground. You would have problems trying to, just swim. You would have problems trying to climb out of the water after you were done swimming. You would have problems just walking and there would be a rock in your way and you would try and perch on it to get a better view, and it would just be a mess trying to, maneuver around the area. On top of that, the graphics were not that great. And in this game, they kind of did what I like to call a little bit more of a Team Fortress 2 approach. They didn't go for the hyper realistic graphics, but they went for something that, it combines a good art style with a decent amount of realism, which I can respect. Okay? So the story-wise, I give this game like almost nothing. But what I will give this game overall, and before I forget to mention this, is this game actually came at a reduced price tag of only $40 as opposed to the typical $60. So I'll give them some points, just for having an economically wise deal on your game, similar to The Walking Dead or Jurassic Park or something, or some other games that people know are going to be niche games. They're not going to sell that well to people who aren't specifically interested in them, while still retaining a decent profit. I can respect that. Unfortunately, having just given them some respect, I now have to butcher them in terms of the actual review, which is the gameplay. I have to really get down into the gameplay, and the gameplay, like the prequel, is it holds up at its strong points and then collapses under just the weight of expectation for everything else. So let's talk about the main part of the gameplay, the sniping. The sniping in this game is really good. I like it. It's interesting, it's unique, and it's a learning process. You want to learn if you're really interested in sniping. Now, unfortunately, obviously, if you're not much of a sniper, you're not going to find much, a redeeming value in this game. You're pretty much going to be forced to, snipe in this game. In fact, unlike the prequel actually had, in addition to sniping sequences, it also had, running gun style, normal Call of Duty Battlefield assault rifle segments where you would play as someone completely unrelated doing something else completely unrelated. Well, not completely unrelated, but like, you would be not sniping at all. You would be using an assault rifle. And those sequences played like ass. Because, while the sniping sequences, have a decent amount, the recoil and pretty much everything else, I can imagine is near realistic. Pretty much what we're going to, get from games for a long time. It's pretty much what I imagine the sniping experience will be like, with a few game helpful tweaks here and there. Like when you snipe someone who has their back turned to their friend, and their friend has their back turned to the person you're shooting in the face. They don't hear the bullet hitting them. That's just helpful. Or like when you snipe someone, everyone seems to line up in a perfectly straight line, and just sets themselves up for the double or triple kill in some cases. All that kind of stuff. Besides that, I imagine the sniping is very well done. You have wind resistance. The wind at certain points can push your bullet left or right. And can affect your shots. You have distance, of course. Gravity always plays a role in bullets. Where they go and how that affects bullets. What else is there? Your stance. If you try to snipe while standing up, you're obviously not going to hit anything. It's not stable. So the lower you go to the ground, the better you go. Just the better your shot flies. On top of that, your heart rate can affect it. So if you've been, sprinting and jumping and doing all that other activity, and then you decide to take your snipe, obviously it's going to be harder because your heart rate is still up. And for at least for all that, it makes it interesting to try and determine all this kind of stuff yourself, to calculate your own snipe shots and basically be your own assistant. Unfortunately, for other stuff like that, it works for the most part, and I think it was a pretty well designed system. Now, let's get to the problem. The problem is, since they removed those run and gun sequences, the game pretty much entails a lot of sniping. Hence, when you're not sniping, the game pretty much devolves into the typical modern-day shooter game style of follow your partner to the next snipe engagement. It's just pretty much you're either sniping with your partner, you're moving with your partner, or at a few key segments in the game, you're actually by yourself, and you get to, you have to determine yourself how you want to progress with sniping people. And I actually enjoyed those parts. I actually enjoyed experimenting, seeing what works, what didn't. And yeah, it worked pretty much very well for me. I enjoyed it. But the problem is, it's so few of that. You only get to do it a couple of times in this game. And for the remainder of your sniping segments, you're with someone who actually calls out your shots, which which is twofold. I think it's good that they call out your shots, so you know you're not accidentally, you know, the benefit of not having that much trial and error. I mean, then again, you know, trial and error is good to a certain extent. And also, it's bad because, you know, the game pretty much becomes a bunch of repetitive, you know, linear sequences that you've just seen coming. Like, okay, where am I going to go now? Where am I going to, you know, run behind my partner? Maybe I'm going to climb up a wall. Maybe I'm going to swim a little bit. But then, you know, regardless of how I get there, in the end, I'm going to end up sniping, you know, and just, he's going to call out my shots, and we're either going to take out two people at once, or there's going to be a long-distance shot. Pretty much the set pieces get very repetitive very quickly. Now, the only other weapon you can actually use in the game is a pistol, your silenced pistol. They decided not to let you pick up enemy weapons again in this game. The only weapons you can pick up are your sniper rifle, another sniper rifle, or your pistol. Well, obviously you can't pick up another pistol. And your pistol, like Sniper Ghost Warrior 1, it's pretty good, but, you know, it's not, they nerfed it. It's not nearly as well, as nearly as good as it was in the last game. And, you know, don't go in, you know, expecting from the last game that the pistol's going to carry you. Also, another thing that wasn't that great, well, they also took out grenades, by the way. I just forgot to mention that. The AI, while the AI is a bit better than its, you know, its predecessor, the AI is by no means fucking killer. The AI, you know, especially towards the later part of the game, the AI was kind of either, again, it's binary. It's either, you know, a 1, and it's very incredibly smart, knows where you are before you even pop up, and, you know, have determined where the bullets are coming from, or they're very stupid. They'll run into corners, they'll sit in corners like 5-year-olds on timeout and not understand that they're looking for you. At one point, I was sitting, actually, there was a very glitchy sequence, good thing I'm bashing the game right now. At one point, I was sitting around, I was trying to snipe a guy far off, I would be shooting him in the fucking face with a sniper rifle, and I'm not sure if it's a scripted event or what, because I would be shooting him in the face and he wouldn't die, and then, you know, the stealth option would get blown, and then I would just be sitting there. People would be charging me up the tower, and then they would run up the tower, they would get to the landing before where I was, and they would basically sit in the corner on timeout, and, you know, not really, you know, facing away from me, and I would just be sitting there like, okay, well, is this guy, you know, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Why isn't he killing me? Why isn't he shooting me? And actually at one point, one guy ran up, I shot him with the sniper rifle at point blank, and then I tried to knife him, which is an instant kill, and none of that worked, and he shot me to death. Also, the health system has been completely changed. Unlike Sniper Ghost Warrior 1, where your health was basically on a scale of 100, and it would drain, you know, as you get hit with bullets or take fall damage or whatever, and it would go up once it hit, you know, below 30, it would go back up to 30, and you would heal using syringes. In this game, you only have 3 blocks of health that get eaten away fairly quickly, which isn't a bad mechanism. And, you know, you can only carry 2 medkits as opposed to 5 syringes, which, you know, is not bad. It's just, you know, kind of outdated at some segments, you know, where you actually, you do blow your cover and you do try to save yourself. You can get pretty messed up pretty quickly. Now, on the other hand, they did change the spotting system. In this game, they actually do a very good system of stealth detection, where if an enemy has a line of sight on you and it can't see you, he won't see you right away and blow your cover, and you'll never know he was there unless, of course, you walk in his face. But if you're a good distance off, you know, you're hiding, you know, you accidentally peep out a little bit too much, your mini map will actually start to have a red ring form around it, and once that ring completely goes around your mini map, then you'll be spotted. But, you know, if you see it filling up, they give you ample time to, like, duck back into cover, and you'll be fine. So, single player wise, yeah, it's not exactly the best. As I say, it's a niche game. If you can put up with the glitches, if you can put up with, you know, the awkwardness of the game, although they did make the game feel a little bit less awkward, which is good. Then Sniper Ghost Warrior 1 felt like the elephant in the room. This feels like, you know, more like the obnoxious guy that, you know, doesn't know what to say at the right time. You know, it just sucks that, you know, the gameplay doesn't vary besides sniping. You know, I mean, the sniping is good, but, you know, 4 straight hours of sniping, I mean, I can respect sniping, I can enjoy it, but that's not something I would want to sit down realistically and play for 4 hours with, you know, a very lukewarm, not even lukewarm, just a very taped on story. It's just there to be there. It's like a cardboard cutout at a movie theater. And you know, the soundtrack is, you know, whatever. It's nothing impressive. There weren't even any songs that I was, you know, kind of feeling. And you know, standard graphics. Like, what is there to this game besides really, you know, sniping? And the truth is, there really isn't. It's kind of like the baseline of modern games, and then a really good sniping mechanic taped on. So I hate to say it, this game is good. Well, actually, no. Let me rephrase that. The game is, you know, passable. Okay, the game is very, very passable, and I'm not exactly sure how to rate a game that's this passable. It's not blatantly bad like, you know, Aliens Colonial Marines, but at the same time, it's also very, very weird. You know, it's a very awkward game. Even still, even with all the changes they've done, even though they've tried to make it a little bit more presentable, you know. Single player wise, I can't give them that many points. It's just there. On top of that, you know, they brought back, well, before I get into that, you know, the checkpointing also might get a little bit annoying. There's some segments where the checkpoints just, you know, are not there. They're just non-existent. There's also some segments where you'll be trying to snipe somebody, and, you know, they'll be getting the beat on you because, you know, they're specialized snipers, and you'll have no clue where they are, and you'll be out in the open, you know, trying to, you know, scrounge up what little cover you can to try and take some shots back, which could be a gameplay mechanic. I'm not, you know, smacking them too hard for that, but at some points it's kind of like, oh, well, where are they? You know, I can't see them. And at one point I just ended up running past them because I couldn't see them because there was too much smoke, and they blended in just too damn well. So, for the single player, I'll pass them. I'll give them a 65 for the single player. That's really all I'll give them. There's not much I can really, you know, not much I can really say. Now, on the other hand, the multiplayer, because there is multiplayer in this game, is set to be, you know, sniping. It's set up like sniping duels, okay, if you understand what I mean. Like, it's everyone, you know, snipes at each other, and, you know, pretty much it's kind of like single player, but, you know, a lot of sniping. So you have to take into account wind resistance and all that good stuff, and the thing is, there's only one game mode and 2 maps. That's shitty. That's like, okay, it's kind of like what they did with Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Although that game, you know, obviously it's very different, very, you know, much more multiplayer focused, but only has 2 maps on hostages, which is kind of silly for a game that's, you know, a remake that only has 2 maps when there's definitely more hostage maps. And, you know, well, obviously, again, I did play this game on the console, so again, I could only be saying this from a console perspective. I know how Counter-Strike plays on the PC. And on this game, there's only just a few game modes, you know. It's just, there's not much to it. Like, even with all the stuff they've done, it really only felt like they were trying to improve what, you know, what they knew was good, and, you know, nothing else was even attempted to be improved. But, you know, besides bringing it up to, you know, the standard par. So ultimately, what would I give Sniper Ghost Warrior 2? I would give it a 69 out of 100. I pass it and then give it some points for the interesting multiplayer. But, you know, I would give it higher. I initially was actually going to give it, you know, a 75, but then I said to myself, you know, let's sit down and think about this. It's a niche game. It only appeals to certain people. And other than it's niche, what does it really do? You know, where's the value in this game? Truth be told, I couldn't find any. So, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, Sniper Ghost Warrior gets the second lowest score so far of any verdict, only beating out Aliens Colonial Marines because it's actually a goddamn game. So, I'll give them that, a 69. I don't know if there'll be a Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. I don't know if I'll even want to buy the DLC for this game, which is $10, because, you know, the game itself isn't that great. And, you know, yeah, it sucks that a game that has such a well-developed sniping mechanic, you know, a very good physics engine, you know, it sucks that there's not much more to it, like, you know, something more interesting. And again, that's the problem inherent with a game like this. Like, a game like Sniper Ghost Warrior can only really appeal to snipers because there's only sniping in the game. A game like, you know, what else is there? A niche game. I don't know. And the only other game I can think of is like Pikmin and stuff, you know, like, you know, you want to control multiple guys, and, you know, if you're not into that, then you're not feeling it, then that's it. There's not much to it. And, you know, I know some games only appeal to certain genres, but this one only appeals to a certain area within a genre. So, you know, it's very difficult for it to, you know, appeal to people outside, and ultimately that doesn't lead to a very well-rounded game, you know. So, a 69 out of 100. At least you guys passed this time. I would have butchered your last game. You know, maybe that would be shaking hands with Aliens, Colonial Marines, but at least this time you got your act together a bit. You know, maybe you could, you know, take a year or two to learn a little bit more from some of the other big name players on the market. And yeah, hopefully you guys come back, City Interactive, with something new. At least, you know, there's been, I imagine your other games will be like completely local, like no one even knows of them. But, you know, at least they had something to bring to the table, and hopefully, you know, it can only get better, or it could get worse. So I don't know, but in any event, thank you for watching this verdict. I'm SpraynPray1000. My playthrough is obviously on my channel, SpraynPray1000. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and this verdict. You know, obviously, I haven't been saying this on the other verdict games, but let me know what you think about not only the verdict, but, you know, just overall. Let me know, you know, if you have a comment or a message or anything. You know, just let me know. Send it anytime, and I'll see you guys at the next. Actually, wait! I just opened the case, and I just remembered the game actually came with a short history on sniping. Pretty cool. Came with a little book inside of the game case, and, you know, in this day and age, like, take for example a game like Devil May Cry, or, you know, Assassin's Creed, you know, the Devil May Cry reboot, or some of the Assassin's Creeds, they don't even come with manuals because the manuals are in game. You know, at least here, it was you know, it was also it came with the game, so that's interesting. You know, it's a quick little read on sniping, and also it came with. If you get like a first run copy of this game, it actually comes with a copy of the first Sniper Ghost Warrior. So, again. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, so thanks for watching, and yeah, you know, a little book on sniping, be pretty interesting. You know, obviously I can't read it out, but definitely a game that, you know, is at least worth investigating, at the very least, if you don't feel yourself, you know, at least looking into. So, thanks for listening, and I'll see you later. Jump shot! Yeah, I need you to cover me, though. That's the funny thing. Where is he? Oh! Oh, you're serious! You can't be serious! No! No! What? There you go. Fucking Call of Duty all over again. Damn it.
You invincible headshot scripted cheater.